Hey guys, just wanted to come on here and do a quick video. You guys know what a hypocrite is? Like you've probably had experiences with actual hypocrites where, you know, they put forth a front, they play the part, and then they also expect everyone else to play that part. But behind closed doors, they're like a whole different other person, right? They're like a whole different person. This is the guy that comes out. He's self-righteous. He appears to do everything right. He expects everyone to follow his lead. But behind closed doors, he's a drunkard. He cusses out his wife. He beats his kids because he can't stand them. And he's just a dumpster fire behind closed doors. I'm sure you guys, maybe not that extreme, but everybody's had a run-in with a hypocrite. I mean, there's even been times where I've realized that I'm a hypocrite, right? Like I'm a hypocrite. There's something hypocritical about what I'm doing. We'll have the Apostle Peter moment where we're either confronted with it or the Lord through his word and spirit confronts us with it, and we realize that we need to repent. Well, we're dealing with that, but like on a level that hasn't been seen for years, and maybe has not even been seen in this country ever, since this country has been around. And there's a couple things. First, the left has taken you for a fool. The left has taken you for a fool. If you are one of the ones that are like, yeah, all of these executive orders, all of these universal quarantine regulations and all that, all of those things were for the sake of public safety. You've been taken for a fool, my friend. And the reason you've been taken for a fool, well, I'll show you here in a little bit. It's summed up in one photograph. But you've been taken for a fool because the same people who are telling you that are not themselves living according to that standard. They're being hypocrites. They're expecting you to live one way while they go off and live another. The bad thing about it is that they're using something like the coronavirus in order to get you to obey their regulations while they go off and live a totally different way, in a way that's inconsistent with those regulations, in a way that's inconsistent with the supposed scientific evidence that's behind these regulations, right? And so I don't think it shows the virus or anything like that to be a hoax, but I do think it shows I think it shows to a large extent these executive orders, these regulations, these policy changes and everything that's happened as a result of the coronavirus. A lot of it's just been a lot of hot air. And a lot of those regulations have been hoaxes, the stuff that hoaxes are made out of, right? And here's why I say you're played as a fool. They think you're stupid. And this is why I say that. Boom. Look at this picture. This picture is a picture of John Lewis's funeral, which just recently occurred. In fact, as you can see at the very top there, this article was updated today, July 31st. But anyway, where is this? This is in Atlanta. And Atlanta, oddly enough, is still in phase 1 of their reopening procedures. Now, phase 1 still consists of a stay-at-home order. So they're still under a stay-at-home order. They're under mandatory mask wearing. They're under mandatory social distancing. No groups larger than 10. In fact, really no groups at all within the city limits, I believe, if you just look at their website. The document that I looked at, which lays out all of the requirements and all of that, shows that it was updated July 10th, so just about 21 days ago that document was updated. It says that Atlanta is still in phase 1. And yet we have a crowd like this. The person up at the podium right there, you can't tell it because the picture's not very big. But the person up at the podium right there, that is Obama. And there's somebody else there of note. There's a lot of people there of note. But the other one is Bill Clinton. That's a picture of him at the podium there. And of course, it's just, them paying homage to a supposed hero. He wasn't a hero. He definitely didn't warrant a funeral like this. Think about this, guys. You've been told many of you, most of you have been told over the last several months that you can't attend a funeral. You can't attend a funeral. You can't even go see a loved one who's dying in the hospital. I will not be able to go see our third child's ultrasound. Why? Because of this, because of the coronavirus stuff. I can't be there. And that's when we're supposed to learn gender and all that. I can't go. If there would have been a funeral that would have happened up here in Kansas City, we wouldn't have been able to have a funeral during these last few months. Now we can, I believe. But then we couldn't. Atlanta's still in phase 1. I mean, churches there can't gather. And if they did gather, they wouldn't be able to gather with some ridiculous stipulations attached to it, like everybody has to sit 6 feet apart from each other and wear masks and all that. But most churches, I just looked at First Baptist Atlanta. They're not meeting right now. They're doing the whole Zoom thing. So there are churches that still can't meet in Atlanta. Funerals can't happen in Atlanta. But look at this. Oh, look at this. There's a special exception made. There's a special exception made for John Lewis. There's a special exception made for the Democrats. This was a heavy politicized event, so I'm not worried about politicizing it any further. It's already been politicized. It is a Democrat function. And they have a special exception. Now, this article that's here on CNN is praising all of this. It's just like a survey of all the great stuff that happened. But remember maybe about a month ago when Trump tried to have his rally in Tulsa? Remember it was like, he shouldn't do that. That's irresponsible, blah, 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 blah. And then after he had the rally, it was a big failure. And after the rally was over, they started reporting, well, this person got sick. That person got sick. As a result of Trump's rally, it's all Trump's fault. Remember that? Well, but CNN's not going to report this event that way. No, they're not. No, sirree. It's a funeral. It's a funeral for one of their heroes. Here's the thing. Here's what happens. We've given them the precedent for this. We've said, yeah, you guys can make any executive order you want. You can shut down the church anytime you want. You can shut down business anytime you want and open it anytime you want. You have complete liberty to do that. That's what we've told them through our actions, through our negligent, stupid actions. That's what we've told them. And this is what you get. Because it turns out, really, the executive orders weren't necessary. All of the restrictions on social distancing and things like that, none of that was necessary. If it were, these people wouldn't be there. Special exceptions. Whenever tyranny, special exceptions for just some groups in the country, that is an indicator that there is tyranny, by the way. I mean, it's a very obvious indicator. This happens in every communist dictatorship. Like if you go to Venezuela, communist China, back during the Iron Curtain days, Russia, Soviet Russia. If you were to go to any of those places, I almost forgot, 1980s Cuba, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Fidel Castro and all that. All of these leaders in those countries and their friends and all of their constituents, all of that, there were special exceptions made for them. Whereas if you were to go around to where the common folk live, they'd be living in like blockhouses and in some cases shacks in very poor conditions, not receiving very good medical attention, not being paid except what the government determines that they're paid, right? And all sorts of stuff. The common man is living in slum. But there's all these special exceptions for those who rule, for the political elite. And that's what we're seeing here. Churches are shut down. Small businesses shut down, losing money. People are without jobs. They're on welfare and stuff like that. But, you can't have funerals. But they can have a funeral. They can have a religious service. It just shows the double standard. And what I wanted to come on here to say, and this is pretty much it. This is the gist of it. They think you're stupid, and they think you're stupid because, really, quite honestly, the great majority of Americans rolled over. The great majority of Americans, the great majority of Christians rolled over. They're like, okay, we'll listen to your executive order. No questioning. It's science. It's the best course of action because it's the governor saying it, it's the mayor saying it, it's CNN saying it, and so we should do it. And this is what happens. You get special exceptions made for the same people that are trying to enforce these universal regulations. It's not so universal when it comes to them, though. Just remember that. It's not so universal when it comes to them. And this all comes from, part of the reason that this all happened, a big part of it, maybe the whole reason, is this virtue signaling, especially that which happens within evangelicalism. You see, the evangelicals within this country have a very powerful voice, a very strong voice, and could have done a lot of good in this situation, but they didn't. They pandered. They virtue signaled. It's still going over on the Gospel Coalition, and John MacArthur just got criticized by everybody and their brother for having service again. It's like the only commandment right now in evangelicalism is thou shalt not assemble. And what evangelicalism did is, instead of using their voice to glorify God and to stand up to the state, which is what we do as Americans. That's how we obey Romans 13 as Americans. We put the state in check. That's how we obey. It's a government for the people, by the people. That's the kind of country we live in. We don't live in a monarchy or something like that. Instead of doing that, evangelicalism twists the word of God and says, well, if you love your neighbor, you'll wear a mask, you'll socially distance, you'll stop going to church, and you'll do Zoom services. And they played right into the scheme of these people. And now, guess what? They look like idiots. They look like idiots. Because apparently the executive orders, it wasn't that crucial that we followed them. The regulations, it just wasn't that crucial that we followed them. If it were, they wouldn't be having that funeral right there. You know how many people have died and how many families have not been able to have funerals for their loved ones? Countless over the last few months. But here, we have the special exception. This is the America that the Gospel Coalition wants. This is the America that the SBC wants. This is the America that I think a lot of Americans want. Or they want it unwittingly because their actions or their negligence, their negligence and failure to be citizens within this country, proper citizens within this country, is leading to this. It's leading to this. It's leading to a politically elite class and all a bunch of subjugated peons like us. And we're expected to follow the rules. They don't have to. And this is what every communist and fascist country looks like when it's all said and done. Is there's special exceptions made for the elite and their friends. And all of the common people, they live in blockhouses and shacks. You just remember that. So when you start to ask yourself, or you start to tell other people, we have to obey Romans 13. How do we obey Romans 13 in the United States of America? How do we obey Romans 13 in the United States of America, where it is constitutionally stated that this is a government for the people, by the people? The people is the final governing body in this country. It is the arbiter of the way in which the government is formed in this country. You guys realize that. That's why there's provision in the Constitution for revolution. And in the Federalist Papers even, and especially the Anti-Federalist Papers. Our country has a history of being founded on the notion that the electorate is always makes the best decision. The electorate always makes the best decision. And when there's a breakdown in government and corruption seeps in, the people have not only the right, but the obligation, if we are to preserve our Constitution, to stand up to the government. And so when you say, oh, Romans 13, we can't defy these tyrants. We can't defy these tyrants. You're actually, what you're doing is because you live in the United States, you are contradicting yourself. You are contradicting yourself and you don't see it. And the reason you're contradicting yourself is because you, as part of the majority, are the government. As part of the electorate, you are the government, right? In a monarchy, it's not that way. The serfs are not part of the government, right? You only have an aristocracy and then a monarchy, a king or a queen. And you have like the House of Lords, which is your aristocracy, and then you have a monarchy. Well, and Britain was kind of unique in that sense. And then along came Parliament, and there was more liberty and more checks and balances and things of that nature, restraint on the crown and all that. But in a proper monarchy, really, the king or queen is the government. Here, it's not that way. That's not how it works. And we say, well, we have to obey the magistrate and all that. But when the magistrate starts doing something that is illegal, as we consider the Constitution of the United States, then we have the responsibility. That's how we obey Romans 13, right? Because when a magistrate in this country starts to do that which is illegal, we stand up to them and ensure the integrity of our governing document and of the government that really is the essence or the government which is laid forth or set forth by the Constitution. If we don't do that, we're not following Romans 13. We're not following Romans 13 because, again, it's obey governing authorities. Well, what's the governing authority in this nation? It's a document. It's the Constitution. Well, then after that, what is it? Well, it's the three branches of government. Well, then after that, what is it? When all those things break down, what is it, constitutionally speaking? It is the people. It's the people. And I'm telling you, we have dropped the ball big time. We have disobeyed Romans 13 big time. We have misunderstood our Constitution, our responsibility as citizens, big time. And this is what happens. You just remember this picture. If you're asking yourself a question right now, should I go to church this coming Sunday? Just remember this picture. Just remember this picture. Anyways, guys, if this video was helpful, if it was thought-provoking, please give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also share this on your social media if you are able. God bless. Have a wonderful evening.